hello, and welcome to Temple of Divine. Happy New Year! This is the first um, episode for 2022, the year of you, and I am super excited to be here. Your host, High Priestess Makita. We are real talk for the walk, and listen, I hope you checked your hangups at the door so we can explore all that there is to explore. So, um, what I'm changing the format. Okay, if you've been following me in the past, we're gonna change the format. We're mixing it up a little bit. New look, new year, new you, new me, new content. So what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna run through kind of the format and the flow, and then we'll get into the content. Does that sound good? This camera. Oh. Hi. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. I don't see me in that camera. Okay. All right. I was a little I was back in 2021. Now I'm in 2022. Okay, check it out. So listen. The first thing is the format. I wanted to make Temple of Divine more relevant for you, right? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna have segments. Okay. The first segment is in the Matrix, and in the Matrix is about current events, current news, only from a spiritual perspective. So first segment we got in the Matrix. The second segment is in the vortex. What is the vortex? Well, you have to listen to find out. But in the vortex, it's more about kind of you and how you are living your life as a creator, and kind of to slowly make sense of that so that you can live your best year ever. Our third segment is in the spirit. And this is where we're going to talk about some of the tools that are out there. Just kind of help you in case you're interested in different things that, like tarot or Reiki or other things like that may be unfamiliar to you. Then in the spirit is the segment where we're going to cover that information. Then we've got in the mind. This is where we get lost. This is where we disconnect from everything that we're trying to create in our lives, okay? And so we're going to have a segment that's in the mind. And today, in the mind, we're going to talk about me and body concept and body image. I think is what we're going to talk about. And then we have a segment that is in the body, which is going to be about fitness stuff and the connection between the mind and the spirit and the body. And so we'll go through that, and we'll have guests and things. But today, we're just kicking it off with framework so we can set the tone for the year. And then finally, ask the High Priestess. Ask High Priestess. This is when, listen, you call me. When it's time for Ask the High Priestess, call me and talk to me. Any comment, input, any questions about any of the content for the show up to that point, then go ahead and call me and be like, hey, High Priestess, what's up? What did you mean about such and such and yakety smack? And let's chop it up about it, okay? Sound good? Sound good. Okay. So, we're going to start with in the Matrix. So, now, I heard, and I didn't get a chance to do too much digging, but once you cover this topic, you just kind of know where everybody's at. And so I thought, you know what? Let's talk about this segment. So I'm gonna spell it for you. No, I'm gonna give you the first letter and the last letter, and then you see if you can figure it out. So we're gonna cover. Okay, starts with a T. Okay, wait. I didn't even tell you how my year was going. I didn't tell you what was going on. Did you know? Before I get into the content, I have a dog. High Priestess Makita has a dog now. And I'm going to tell you something. A dog is like a little bundle of joy and like all the aggravation that goes with it. So I'm like, I have totally rearranged my life and everything for the dog. But it's been good. It's been good. We're training her. We're doing a potty training thing. And that's kind of out there. So I need some extra love and happy vibes coming towards me for the potty training thing, because that's like not my jam. Anyway, that's what's been going on with me, and I'm excited about things that are going on business-wise. So far it's been a good year, and last year was a great year. I don't know about you, but for me, last year was a really good year. I've learned a lot of things last year that I've been able to take and bring over into this year. I've changed a lot of things, so I hope that you've had a great year too. So I just wanted to get that out there, because I wanted this to be kind of a relationship between me and you, right? Like, I'm here, you're there, we're having a conversation, we're chopping it up about a whole bunch of stuff. And how can I do that without sharing a little bit about who I am or what I'm doing? And oops, hit the table. Sorry, Mr. Engineer. Okay, so in the Matrix, let's talk about it. Starts with a T, ends with a P. You know what I'm talking about. Somebody said to me, oh my gosh, somebody is actually supporting Trump for 2024. I was like, what? Oh, okay. And then I had to put my spiritual brains on, and I was like, oh, right. The question you may be asking yourself is, why on earth would anyone, after all this going on, everything that's happened, why on earth would anyone, none of the less people who actually like are putting forth effort to have enough momentum to actually vocalize having Trump as president again, you might be like, well, how can that happen? I don't even understand. Like, what are those people thinking? Let me break it down. Okay, because in The Matrix, it's like the movie The Matrix. Have you ever watched The Matrix? I haven't seen the new Matrix yet, but I am a true Matrix fan. So anyway, but I fondly call this place where we are the Matrix because it's a lot like the movie, right? And so here's what happens. There were a lot of people who were thinking, maybe even not a lot of people. Sometimes you could just toss a thought into the ether and then bam, people catch on to it and it just takes off. And so what we forget when we look at the Matrix is thoughts are things, right? So it's like somebody was like, and somebody probably, and actually, you know what? Trump is a master at this. Trump is a master at throwing some stuff out and getting some momentum around it and watching it grow and explode, right? It's like, I am the best. Right. Okay, well, until you say that, you think a thought in your mind, right? And then if you don't do anything with the thought, if you just kind of let it drop on the floor, then it has no momentum. It has no place to go. It's not going to do anything. But when you have a thought and you put it out there, thoughts are things. They begin as just, something in your mind, and then maybe you speak it, but every single time you say something, guess what that thought does? It grows. It's like if you have kids and you were religious, there was a Veggie Tale. They had this series called Veggie Tales, and one of them was the rumor weed. It was like the rumor weed would just start growing and growing and growing. Well, that's what happens with these thoughts, right? So somebody, probably maybe Trump himself, of course, was like, I should be president again. And then some more people picked up the thought and went, Trump president again. And then they went, oh, maybe he would be a good president. And then they started kind of meditating on that. Then they told a couple of friends, like, hey, you know what? What do you think about Trump being president again? And they're like, yeah, he should be president again. Then a bunch of like other people who had that. So there's momentum behind the thought of Trump being president again. And every time, even as I'm saying it, and so you may be like, High Priestess, okay, you know what? I hear what you're saying, but really, I'm going to tell you why. I know it's a lot of people who give law of attraction a lot of they're not happy with it. But let me tell you something about law of attraction. The reason why you may or may not be in favor of law of attraction because you only know a part of the story. The reality is law of attraction is non-discriminatory. So whether you're thinking good thoughts or bad thoughts, it still works the same way. So it's like, even though you may be thinking, oh, well, I don't understand how this could happen. You know exactly how it happens. You do it every single day. So when somebody thinks about Trump being president, guess what? It goes out into the ether. Law of attraction says, oh, Trump president. Okay. It's kind of like, you ever seen like a visualization where there's like a pool of water, and then there'll be a drop of water, and the drop of water will kind of go in there into the pool, and then it'll get a little bit bigger, and then another drop of water come in, it'll get a little bit bigger. Well, that's what happens with thought forms. So all those people that were thinking about Trump being president again, they have momentum because that's where their thoughts have been. But now if your thoughts have been somewhere else, like, I don't know, let me say the current situation with the healthcare, with the virus or whatever. Can I even say that? Am I going to get cut? But The point is, if you've been watching the news, okay, I'm gonna digress for a minute. There's so much stuff that's going on in the background. But when you're easily distracted and you're like kind of like following the news, and even the whole Trump thing itself is just a distraction. There's all kind of crap going on in the world that you don't even know about. This really can affect your life. And you all up here like, oh, this is going on. But the reality is, my point is, let me get back to my point, is that it works either way. So a bunch of people just have momentum around, Trump being president again. That doesn't surprise me. But you know what? It works all different ways. So what if you had a thought? What if you had a thought that said, I don't know, let's say I'm going to have a thought. High Priestess Makita for president. Right? Okay, I'm going to have that thought. Now you can, jump on in my thought, and you can say High Priestess for president, and I get my boys to say High Priestess for president, and then we start toting some signs, say High Priestess for president, and maybe we get some momentum around that, right? That's the way it works. That's the way everything works. So in the Matrix, there's nothing that really surprises me in the Matrix anymore, because I understand that every single thing that happens in the world, it was a thought before it was a thing. So you can see you can look at the most heinous, oh my gosh, I hate to even turn on the news because every time there's always something new. But the reality is that every single thing that happened, when you judge somebody, you say, oh, that's horrible. Oh, that's a terrible thing that someone did. It all began with a thought. That's why in your religious texts, different people will say, don't judge, don't gossip, don't do this, don't do that. Because when you do it, the very thing that you're being judgmental about, the very thing that you're saying, oh, that shouldn't be, the very thing is happening. And you're feeding it. You're feeding its creation as you go. So, anyway, what do you think about that? In the Matrix. That's kind of, the in the Matrix. And from a spiritual perspective, what I would say is, if you're not happy about it, then add another thought form. Who do you want to be president? Add another thought form. What momentum do you want? Add a thought form that says, no, Trump will never be president again. And have some people join you on that thought form. Do some work. Become vocal. Spread the word. And then law of attraction will work in your favor as well, right? So then we'll just see who has the most pull and who has the most momentum. But just talking about it is not really going to change it, because what happens is, if you're not intentional, then you are part of the Matrix. You're kind of like just at the, you're at the, what's the word I'm looking for? You're kind of at the beck and call of whatever the predominant thought forms are in the moment. So if you don't have any intention and you don't have any viewpoints that you want to hold dear to you, and you're just watching the news and sucking it up and stuff like that, then you're going to be drawn into whatever's out there, and you won't be intentional. But if you can be intentional about it, then you can change it. So anyway, that's my 2 cents in the Matrix. What's going on from a spiritual perspective from your girl, High Priestess Makita. So now the next segment is in the vortex. In the vortex. Okay, so what are we talking about in the vortex? All right, this is a topic. It's going to probably take you, I don't know, depending on where you are at right now, it may take you a long time for this concept. But I think if you're here and you're watching me now, you probably are ready for it, because you caught hold of my vibration somehow and you're here. So there must be something going on between me and you, because you're here, right? Okay. So the vortex, I'm explaining like this. Let me give you a visual first, and then it'll make a little bit more sense. You know how you have a recipe, okay? I make an Italian cream cake. I do it every holiday. People beg me to make it. They've tried to replicate it. Can't do it. It's the bomb. It's the best because I made it. But that when I make that recipe, there's a certain way, that I put in, well, let me not go a certain way, but I put the ingredients in. And I have to do the ingredients a certain way. I get them to a certain temperature. It's very, precise, I'm going to say, for lack of a better word. But it's like the vortex is like that, only it's a little bit different, and that it doesn't have to be precise. So when we're talking about the vortex, there is a place where everything that you ever wanted really exists. I know, this is woo-woo. This is for woo-woo people. Temple of Divine, come on. I'm a high priestess. I got to be woo-woo. So there's a place where everything that you want, desire, exists. Okay? And as you're going through life, And if you ever listen to any Abraham Hicks, you'll be very familiar with this because this is the source. So, and things, and I will say that you may or may not be ready for Abraham Hicks, but as I have progressed in my life, as I became ready for things, things appear. So that's where I'm at. But so what happens is, and every time that you experience something in your life, let's call it contrast. Contrast is when something happens in your life and it's not good for you and you don't like it and it pisses you off. It makes you angry. You're frustrated. You're not happy. No happiness in Bugsville. That creates contrast in your life. And contrast helps you to discern what you want and what you don't want. Okay? Okay. Now, but before I tell you more, let me tell you this. You're watching Temple of Divine, broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and other top media platforms on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. Tune in. Call 313-355-6018. I think. Call. Yeah, that's the number. Call me. Call me and test it. Make sure it's the right number. It's a new year. I'm still working out some wine. Okay. 313-355-6018. And talk to me. Ask the High Priestess. But call in. Share. Comment. Turn on your notifications so you don't miss a show every Saturday. We change the day and time every Saturday at 3 p.m. And let's chop it up about Temple of Divine. Okay, so back to In the Vortex. So In the Vortex is everything you ever wanted. Contrast helps you to discern what you do want from what you don't want. And over time, it's like that recipe. You keep throwing stuff in when you decide stuff that you want. You keep throwing stuff into your vortex, and then it mixes things around and it will serve up to you what you primarily are trending towards wanting in some time in the future. Now here's my example. When I started listening to personal development when Tony Robbins was young with no gray hair and no wrinkles. I started listening to Tony Robbins. I remember it was an infomercial. I was up late at night and I was listening to Tony Robbins, and it was unlimited power. And so unlimited power, they said, okay, here, we want you to write that. I bought the whole series. I spent all that money. Yes, I bought the whole series. I was Tony Robbins. And I still love Tony Robbins. Everybody has their place and their purpose in your life and in your journey. So I did that whole work, and I wrote this whole life that I wanted. And I don't remember all the details that were in when I wrote that down. Like I wrote pages of stuff that I wanted in my life. I can't find the notes now, right? But I remember that one thing that I wanted was I wanted a house with windows in every room. Okay? Now, I wasn't very specific. This is one thing that I learned is when you're throwing stuff in your vortex, be very specific because you're going to get what you want. And sometimes what you want is not what you want. But I put in there a house with all windows. And you don't have to remember because when I got married, let's see, when I was pregnant with my second son. I had been married for probably about 7 years, about when we bought a house. And lo and behold, my house has a window in every room. It has windows in the basement, it has window in the closet. It has window in every room. I think there's like 2 closets in my house in the boys' room that don't have windows, but every other room in the house has windows. And I remember thinking, it wasn't when we first moved in, but at some point I remember thinking, wow, I remember saying that on my list. I remember that I wanted windows in every room. It didn't come right. It was like, decades later, right? But the point is that you're constantly creating. You're constantly creating the life that you're experiencing. So everything that you say you want, okay, is there, and everything is conspiring to give you what you want, basically. And so in the vortex, we want to make sure that we're putting in things that we want. And the other perspective is that you don't need to be, how shall I say this? It's no need for you to be negative about bad things that happen. Does that make sense? Why? Because when something that happens that you don't prefer, it helps you to identify what you do prefer. So that means if you don't like your current work situation, then you can be like, you know what? I can't wait till I get out of this place. They don't appreciate me. I'm done. I'm out. I'm out of here. And when I do, I'm going to have this kind of home and this kind of car. I'm work with this type of people. You know, this is going to be fun for me. Like for me. And then you never know how it's going to happen either, because when COVID happened, I finally was released from my corporate experience into a whole new one. It's been challenging for me, but fun. It's fun when you can, connect with some stuff that's really more the essence of who you are. It's fun. Whereas if you're stuck in a situation that you don't prefer, you grumpy and mean, and don't nobody want to be around you except other grumpy, mean people. And then you just be a grumpy, mean conglomerate of people. Now, that's not my jam. I don't want to be around those people. But anyway, so in the vortex is just where we talk about concepts about that place where all your dreams come true, are waiting to come true. Now, what you may be asking is like, okay, well, fine, High Priestess, well, how come I don't have all that stuff already? I mean, after all, I'm waiting on my man, I'm waiting on my house, I'm waiting on my car, I'm waiting on my job, I'm waiting on my business. Okay, where's all that stuff at? Since it's in the vortex and everything is there for me to be better, and the universe is conspiring for me to have everything I want, then how come I don't have it already? Okay, it's because of you. What you mean it's because of me? It's because, listen to me, listen. It's because you have to be a cooperative component in your own life. So that means that your higher self, and we haven't talked higher self, we'll cover that in a later segment, but your higher self knows exactly what you want, exactly how you want it, and is there prepared to provide you with the knowledge and wisdom you need to create it. Okay? But if you are here and you're not aligned with your higher self, meaning you're gossiping, you're negative, you're watching TV all the time, you're thinking about negative stuff all the time, you're finding something wrong all the time, you can't align with your higher self and get none of that. You can't get none of it. Because your higher self only sees the positive. It only sees the best you. It only sees the best situation for you. And so if you're down here in the muckety muck, you can't see that. I don't care. You read if you're a Christian person, you read the Bible. That's why it talks about only think on these things, whatever is good, whatever is excellent, whatever is praiseworthy, any of these things, keep focusing on them. Don't gossip. Well, don't judge. Judge not, lest you be judged. The reason that stuff is there is to help you to stay aligned with your higher self. So if you out here down in the muckety muck, your stuff is still over there in your vortex spinning around, waiting to connect with you. Your higher self is still seeing the best you that you could be, knows exactly how you could be. But guess what? You down here in the muck, not being a cooperative component, so you're waiting. It doesn't mean you're not going to get it. You're just waiting. Now, if you die while you're waiting, what's going to happen is you're going to wake up in the evening and be like, dang, are you serious? I could have been here. What? Oh, my God. But you can't do it over again, I don't think. But we'll have some guests to talk about that. So the point is, there's a place where stuff is happening, and you just need to get aligned. So the next segment is in the spirit. And today in the spirit, we're going to talk about meditation. Why? Because meditation is it's like the beginners. It's like, let me see, like spirit for dummies or something. Like meditation is the basic. It's kind of like the bottom rung on the ladder of how do I connect to me. But that's the bad news. But the good news is it's all you really need. It's all you really need, right? And there's tons of different types of meditation. There's transcendental meditation. There's, all kinds of meditation. But here's what you do. It's the simple. I swear this is the simplest thing. And it absolutely works. I absolutely do it myself. And it is the easiest. I've done all kind of different meditation. I even took like a 3-day, Sadhguru. I took a 3-day course where we would just go and we meditate. We put our bodies all up, and I never could get that one move where you stick your cross your legs and put your ankles in your knee, whatever. Like I never could get that. So you don't have to put your body all up in the pretzel and and do all kinds of weird stuff. You really don't. I'm going to tell you how simple this is. You're going to be like, dang, really? Yes. Don't let the spirit thing be confusing to you. There's a lot of people. Let me see. Let me back up. In their defense, spirituality is a very big, broad horizon because you're a spirit. So what has happened in society is that people have kind of plucked out the pieces of spirituality that they can consume and chew on and enhance and expand, right? So the personal development gurus pulled out a piece of spirituality and they said, oh, visualize and meditate. And then the spiritual practitioners, the tarot readers and the Reiki people, they pulled out a piece that they could use. And then the motivational speakers, they pulled out a piece that they could use. But it's all spirituality. And the only reason why, I'm going to tell you, the only reason why it, I don't know, kind of sticks is because you don't know who you are yet. That's the reality. And because at the end of the day, you're the only one that matters. Yes, when you were a kid, your mama, I don't know about you, but everybody told me the world doesn't revolve around you. Well, it really does. It really does. It does revolve around you. But because you've been conditioned since you were a little baby to think not, it's like you go touch something to experience it and somebody's like, no. Or if you're a teenager and you express yourself and somebody says, I don't think that's correct. I've been a teacher for 25 years and I can tell you that blah, blah, blah is true. Okay, so you've been conditioned and kind of put down, and every time that happens, you get another. It's like mud. It's like you get a layer of dirt thrown on you, and they put some water on it, and then they put another layer of dirt and some more water, and now you're like walking around with this mud that separates you from who you really are. Okay, but the reality is that you are an eternal being. So, but because you don't know you're an eternal being, then you can go to a Reiki person and they can say, oh, I'm going to help you with your energy. Okay? Well, you can help you with your own energy if you knew. But because you don't know, then they do know their energy and they're able to work with energy, then they just do for you something you could potentially do for yourself, except you're not there yet. So until you get that, the fact that you're an eternal being, then you can go to a Reiki person and they can help you move your energy around and feel better and feel good about yourself and connect. Okay? But know that everything that you hire somebody else to do for you, from a spiritual perspective, even psychics and stuff like that, you can do it for yourself. Okay? You can do it for you. So for example, a psychic just reads your energy. Because everything that you want and everything that is coming towards you based on what you're thinking, it already is there swirling around in the vortex waiting to be delivered to you. And depending on your vibe and where you're at, that's when you are not going to get it. So when you go to a psychic, they just go, oh, let me connect with your energy. Oh, I see this is happening. I see this person. Then they can read other people's energy. Yes, I see this person is just curious about you. And that person is just, that's what they do. But here's the kicker. And the kicker is that when you go to a psychic and you get a reading, it's not set in stone. So there are many reputable psychics out there, but if it was a not so reputable psychic, they might have you to believe that what they say is what's really going to happen. Now, it's possible that it will happen if and only if you accept that as the outcome that's going to happen. And I'm telling you this because I want you to know that if it's not an outcome that you want to happen, like say you go to a psychic and the psychic says, oh well, you're going to experience some type of extreme pain, right? You could have two responses to that, potentially, let's say two. One is you could go, oh my gosh, I'm going to experience some extreme pain. And you can start looking out for pain, like, oh, I wonder if it's coming from there. Oh, I better be careful. It could be coming from there, okay? Now you're going to be walking around on eggshells because your psychic told you that you are going to experience some pain. Or you could be like, maybe there's a whole bunch of other stuff your psyche told you. And you can be like, experience some pain, huh? That's interesting. Okay, I personally don't think I want to experience pain, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start focusing on not having pain. Okay, so I'm going to start saying to myself and experiencing what does it feel like to be healthy? Well, I am protected. I have a whole realm of people that I can and cannot see, physical and non-physical, protecting me, and therefore I am safe from any type of pain. You could change the outcome by changing the narrative, because you create the narrative. You create the narrative. I know it's gonna take a minute for everything to soak in, but it's 2022. It's a new year, and guess what? I'm not gonna not share what I know, because somebody, whoever's looking at me, you looking at me, then I know that you are going to need this at some point. So, with that, what you doing? What you watching? You're watching Temple of Divine on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world, broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and other top social media platforms. And listen, make sure to call 313-355-6018. Call me and let me know what you think. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you don't like. Let me know if you just be like, okay, High Priestess Makita, I think that you crazy, girl, because I don't know nothing about no vortex. All I know is that Trump is running for president, and I don't like it, and I can't believe it's happening, and I see it in the news every day, and what do you think about that? Just call me, and we can chop it up. I don't care. And I can talk about anything. So, right, you can ask High Priestess anything. So, but definitely don't forget to share, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications. If you're watching on YouTube, go and turn on those notifications, because you want to make sure you get updates. I will be posting show notes, so make sure that you do that. Now, so that was in the spirit. Now, in the mind, let's see, what time is it? In the mind. So, in the mind, in this segment, we talk about how the way we think about things manifests itself in a result. So, one of the things, so in the mind, what I was going to share today is about body image, because it's a new year and everybody is talking about, maybe not everybody. I personally think, I don't feel like as many people are setting New Year's resolutions as they used to around fitness, but and we'll talk about more in the body about some interesting things I found out with this training I'm doing. Anyway, so in the mind, there are a whole lot of things that are going on that affect you that you don't even know that affect you. So with my body image, one of the things that, like, I've always had a waistline. Like, I've always had, I still do. I don't know if you can see. I don't want you to see. Can I pull this over here? I've always, even when I can remember being in high school and a size 8, and I still had a little tummy. And I always felt like, I swear I feel like I've been on a diet for, like, I don't know, I'm 57, I don't know, for 50 years. That's possible. Yeah, I think I've been on a diet for 50 years. And the way that manifests is that I've always been self-conscious about it. So me having, like, something that I've seen as an imperfection has always caused me to feel self-conscious about it, or like not quite good enough. And then I took those feelings into, and so, okay, so let me say, so I had some behavioral issues when I was growing up as a result of that, okay? So when I would get attention, okay, then that would be like, hey, whatever, it's not so bad. So I was a little promiscuous, okay? When I was growing up, I was a bit promiscuous. But when I got married, I said, you know what? No more. I'm a one-man woman, and I'm like, I'm done. And I was really done for 19 years. But even going into that, my husband at the time had made comments about my weight. Now, keep in mind, like, before I got married, I lost a lot of weight right before my wedding. So I was down and I was hot, sexy, okay. But guess what? I started cooking dinner every single day. I had 2 kids. I put on a few pounds, okay? But in my mind, when that happened, and I was always I've always been on a diet and exercising, like for, I don't know, a couple decades, right? But I was still like chubby, and I still had this, and you know, I just never felt like I was enough. So, and it was okay because I felt like it was okay for me to feel like I wasn't enough. Because after all, I had a defect. It was called the waistline, and I couldn't do anything about it, no matter how hard I tried. So I just was like, oh, okay, well, you know what? I'm not 100%, but hey, this is good. And so I accepted a lot of things, and my self concept allowed me, because I had those feelings that were like, oh, well, I'm not quite enough. Because I had those feelings, then I accepted a bunch of stuff that I probably shouldn't accept. So I don't know about you. Call in, ask High Priestess, or share with High Priestess if you ever felt this. Am I the only one that felt that way? Like, I felt like I wasn't enough. But then a funny thing happened. I remember, maybe, oh, let's see, it's been the first 3 years. Maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, I started like kind of this campaign. Not really a campaign, but I knew I wasn't happy. Like, for a while, I would just run away from stuff. So, like, I was director of my professional organization. I was, executive board on the PTA. I mean, like, anything that would get me out of the house, basically, I was out. I was like, oh, I'm busy. Oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do that. Right? And then one day it dawned on me. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, you can't run away. What are you running from? I realized then that I was running because I wasn't happy. So then I said, okay, I don't know what I need to do, but I know I need to move up. I know I need to go up, right? So I started this whole little campaign. And so what I did is I would just go on live on my Facebook every day, and it was around of course, what else? My fitness journey, right? And so I would post, what I was doing, what was happening. And I was looking over the pictures. I'm like, but you're still fat. I mean, not fat. That didn't offend anybody, but fat, that's just the term that I'm going to use for me. I'm not necessarily calling you fat if you're overweight, but I'm just saying for me, I was like, dang, okay, you sharing, but you still fat, boo. And the problem is that in my mind, which this is in the mind, what we're talking about, in my mind, I was still not worthy. In my mind, I was still not enough. And so even though I was doing a bunch of activity and it felt like the activity that I was supposed to do, I couldn't release those old emotions because I wasn't processing the old emotions. Okay? So your body is really smart. And your cells, the actual cells of your body, holds emotion. Holds emotion. And so when you have negative emotion or emotion that is vibrating low emotion, your body is holding on to that. So, all these areas that I felt like I couldn't get rid of, guess what? There's some old baggage in there. And so I didn't realize what was happening at the time, but I started progression. Like, I started moving through some of those emotions. I had another trainer, and like some trainers, you just work your can off and they beat the hell out of you, like every day, every 3 days, and your body you changes, but then you flip right back. That's why you get a trainer that beats your ass, then you lose weight, and then you start working with the trainer and then you get fat. It's because they beat your ass, but you never really changed in the mind, so you got fat again, right? So, but I was going to this trainer. She beat my ass every day at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was going in there, and on the way there in the car, I would be bawling my eyes out because I'd be processing through some emotion or something I was feeling. Be bawling my eyes out. I'd get to my car in the parking lot. I'd be like, "Hey, coach, morning, coach," and I would go do my thing, right? But still in my mind, it was kind of like the layers, like the mud that I talked about, like chipping. It was like the mud was chipping away a little by little. And then I got to a point where I was like, wait a minute. I'm okay. I'm not bad. I think I'm going to talk. I want something different. I want something more. I want something better, more fitting for me. And when I began to expect different, better things, then I began to realize how much less that I was experiencing than I could have been experiencing, if that makes sense. It's not anyone's fault. Like, for a long time, I blamed, I blamed my ex-husband. I was like, oh, it's his fault because he should have been this and he should have done that and he should have done. But no, if you remember, this is your universe. This is your world. It was my world. I created my environment. And over that healing process, I was like, oh, well, you know what? Actually, I should thank him. Because during that time, it was kind of like I was in an incubator. I had low self-esteem, low self-confidence, low self-worth. And in my incubator, he kept me safe. Because I could have been out there in the street, dating a bunch of crazy dudes that do all kind of stuff to take advantage of women with insecure women, right? But no, he provided a safe incubator for me for 19 years for me to grow and learn to love myself and all that kind of stuff, right? So, all you women out there that's mad with your ex-husband, get over it. He probably helped you in some way. Once you start chipping away on the inside and figure out your mess, you probably can find a way that person actually helped you. So anyway, I began to chip away all those morning car rides. I just chipped a little bit more, taking better care of myself, chipped a little bit more. And then I don't want to say I got divorced, but literally, that process helped me to realize that, helped both of us to realize it's not one side or the other side. It helped both of us to realize that we, even though we were married, we were never as individuals going to be the person that the other person needed. Like, we just agreed on that, and we actually had like the best day ever. The best date in like 2 years. We were sitting in the driveway. It was like, I think we need to get a divorce. Yeah, I agree. I think we should. When I look back on it, I'm like, dang, that was the friendliest divorce discussion I ever, I'm familiar with. But, so anyway, that happened. And then after, I waited like a year before I would date or anything. I don't think it was intentional. I think it was just like, I ain't got time for that. I'm working on me. I'm focusing on me. And you know what? Hey, let me see if it's somebody. But anyway, I met a nice gentleman. We had some fun. And you know what I realized? Actually, the whole last year was a really good year for me in that department. But I realized that there's somebody for everybody. It doesn't matter. There's no bad body type. It's just the body type that your person wants. You know what I'm saying? So you just have to find the right person. So there's men out there that like fat women, short women, skinny women, tall women, women long hair, women short hair, women big breasts, women little breasts. There's somebody for everybody, and there's nothing wrong with anybody. Get excited, okay? That's your happy news for today. But in my mind, like, I never could have gotten to that realization if in my mind I had not began to realize that I was worthy and there was more to me than meets the eye. And in order to have that experience, I actually had to tiptoe out of my religion into my spirituality, because in my religion it was a box, and there were many things in that box that kept me in that box. That kept me in my box. I allowed myself to stay in the box because it felt safe and comfortable. But when I got to the edge of the box and I still wasn't getting the answers where I felt like I needed to be in the box, then I started tipping my nose over the top of the box like, oh, what's going on over there? Oh, okay. I'm a spiritual being. Well, I kind of knew that, but oh, you mean I can create my own reality? Oh, I got angels for real though, like Jesus did. Oh, okay. I got a posse. Oh, okay. And I got more confident, and then I began to see things that confirm that it was real, like synchronicities. Okay, we'll cover that in that. What that actually belongs in the spirit category. We'll cover that on a future show. But the point is that the mind has to be allowed to grow, and you have to make the decision to be intentional about what you feel about yourself. And let me talk about me. I had to look at beliefs that I had, look at viewpoints I had, looked at things, emotions that I was experiencing, and let myself experience them. So it wasn't a bad thing that I was crying in the car every day to the gym for like a year. It wasn't a bad thing. It was healing. It was a healing thing because it allowed me to process through those emotions that were holding me down and let me chip away. And that's how the mind gets free. Because otherwise, the mind is just going to keep serving you back up whatever it's been serving you for years, and you won't even understand what's wrong. So that's the In the Mind segment. I hope that was helpful for you. I know for me, the whole body image thing, and that's why all the diets work, right? All the diets work for somebody. And then you gain all the weight back. Because none of the programs ever, I'm going to say that, Noom a little bit, I think, helps you to deal with some processing. But until you get inside and you connect with who you are, you really can't get the benefit from the program. So, anyway, I hope that was helpful. You're watching Temple of Divine with your High Priestess, Makita, here in WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world, and broadcasting live, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and other top social media platforms. Make sure to call 313-355-6018 and ask the High Priestess whatever questions you have. You have a comment, you don't like something I said, then go ahead and call me. I'm cool. We can talk, have a conversation. I'm okay with that. It's wonderful. It's all good. So, and the other thing is, you know what? We're going to be, my vision, what I'd like to see is I'd like us to take Temple of Divine on the road. What do I mean by that? I would like to meet you. I would like to have us have some meetups, not like church, but kind of like church, because what is church? It's when people who think the same thing or believe the same thoughts get together, hang out, and celebrate, right? So in that sense, I guess you could call it a church, but I'm just saying, I would like for us to get together, but it takes money to throw big parties. It takes money to do things like that. So if you want to support Temple of Divine and you like to see us take Temple of Divine on the road, you want to meet me, hang out with me, show me a few things. I really, one of my goals in 2022, I really would like to learn how to twerk. I don't know, somebody out there can give a sister a lesson. I'd like to learn how to twerk this year. But the point is, if you want to support this show, support Temple of Divine, you can do so. We have a new Cash App. It is MD Temple of Divine, Makita Divine, MD, $MD, Temple of Divine. And so you can feel free. Doesn't matter what amount, whatever you feel like you want to support us with. It could be $1, $1,000, $1 million. Go hook it up. We can have a big party with $1 million. Not to digress, but Abraham Hicks, I follow a lot of Abraham Hicks. They have cruises, okay? Can you imagine? We could have a Temple of Divine cruise where we just all go hang out, okay? I'm excited. We could meditate on the deck in the morning, party. Anyway, I digress. And I would like to see that. So if you want to support Temple of Divine, definitely do so at dollars on Cash App at $MD Temple of Divine. Much appreciated. Okay, now let's see. The final segment is in the body, and ask the High Priestess. So if you have a question of this point, you want to have a conversation, you got a comment, definitely go ahead and call in now is the time to call in at 313-355-6018, and I'm happy to chat with you. So now we're going to talk about in the body. Now this is interesting because this year I have a new trainer, and I was a little bit hesitant because in the process of me really getting to know myself and love myself more, I pretty much have accepted my body as what it is my vessel here on the planet. And I was okay with just the way I was. Like before, I was intent on trying to I gotta get rid of this belly. I gotta get rid of this belly. I gotta do, I was all into that. But I had gotten to a point where I was like, no, I'm all right. I'm good. I'm not stressing about this. I just want to be healthy. But I got a new trainer because I'm basically being a guinea pig because they got a patented process that they're doing to help people to lose body fat and to properly use their oxygen and all this kind of stuff. So I'm a little bit of a guinea pig. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll help a friend out. Let me do this. But I have been pleasantly surprised. So like even these, I have on leggings. Even these leggings are looser. I'm like, why are these falling down off of me? Okay, they weren't doing that before because I have lost. But what I found interesting is because what I wanted to share is so they changed my workout program on Thursday, and so before they changed it, this is gonna sound crazy to some folks, but before they changed it, they said we want you to keep a journal because when you get to this point, when we switch you over to this particular type of training, it is going to stimulate the I think he said parasympathetic nervous system, and when it does that, you're going to experience some things emotionally, and we just need to make sure you can process through them. Okay, I know that sound woo woo. That's like what? I'm a what? Okay, I thought I was just going to work out, and I've had a ton of trainers. Okay, I've had a ton of trainers, and let me straighten this. I've had a ton of trainers, but I've never had a trainer that was like, you need to be in touch with your emotions when we go here because it's about to get bally. Okay, I never had anyone do that, right? So I'm thinking, yeah, whatever, blah blah blah. What's happening? Just give me the workout. So we did the training workout, and I'm thinking nothing of it, right? I'm thinking nothing of it. I'm like, okay, yeah, yesterday did my training, blah blah blah. I mean, day before Thursday, it was Thursday. Did my training, blah blah blah. Did my cardio yesterday, no problem, blah blah blah. My legs are a little sore because I've been doing more walking and running than I normally would do, and I've been doing it on an incline, so my legs are sorer. But yesterday, I was sitting in my den, and I literally just started crying, like out of nowhere for no reason. Okay? Out of nowhere for no reason. And then I remember, he said, oh, this is going to stimulate your nervous system, and you need to be able to process your emotions. And then I was like, oh. And so I'm going to wrap this segment up, but what I want to tell you is that when I said earlier about how your cells actually respond to your emotion and the level and vibration in which you're operating at, it really is true. And disease is really dis-ease. So your body, even to the cellular level, is holding on to emotions and history and things, and that is why people have so much trouble losing weight, and that is why people have so much trouble keeping weight off, because if you never deal with the emotions, then the body can't respond in the way that you need it to respond. And I've lost, and we actually are tracking, like I can tell how much fat that I'm burning versus how much carbon that I'm burning. I can tell how much carbon dioxide I am putting out into the environment. Ooh, that's a good topic for next time. Did you know that you have carbon emissions just like cars have carbon emissions? But anyway, so I can tell how much carbon that I'm now putting out versus before. And I've really have made a lot of changes in my body in the way it operates in a relatively short period of time. So the point is, your emotions can actually be holding you back. If you have fitness goals, you're about to spend a whole bunch of money on a bunch of programs, know that it's not just your body, it's your mind and how you're able to process your emotions. So with that, I'm going to wrap things up. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you're enjoying the format. We're going to have some guests, and we're going to do some different things. But for the most part, we're going to keep the structure of in the matrix, in the vortex, in the spirit, in the mind, and in the body. And try to cover topics in those areas. Kind of mix it up a little bit so it's not the same old thing. We'll have some pictures and show some different stuff like that. And definitely call in at 313-355-6018 or send a note to WJZZradio@gmail.com with any ideas or comments or things that you would like to see on the show, or topics you'd like to discuss, or even if you want to be on the show as a guest and share some of your experiences in any of the topic areas, then let me know. You can also email info. You can also email info@templeofdivine.org, info@templeofdivine.org, and email me directly and let me know some of the topics you want to hear about, and I'll make it happen, because there's no topic that's not open for discussion here. And that's what I love about WJZZ Cool TV. You know, a lot of people are trying to keep your word, tell you what to say, what you can say, what you can't say. Society as a whole is getting really touchy lately. But on WJZZ Cool TV, you can say what you feel and feel what you say and mean it, and you don't have to worry about being censored. So that's what I love about being here. So this has been Temple of Divine, Real Talk for the Walk, with your host, High Priestess Makita Divine, and I will talk to you next time, next Saturday at 3 p.m. right here on WJZZ Cool TV. Bye for now.